Canada is home to an incredible diversity of native orchids, far more than people realize. Many of us picture orchids as tropical plants from faraway forests. Our own landscapes hold more than 50 native species in Ontario alone, thriving quietly in forests, wetlands, bogs, and meadows. These orchids are terrestrial, meaning that they grow in the ground rather than on trees. Some are showy, like the well-known lady's slippers. Many others are subtle, easily overlooked unless you know where to look. They often grow in very specific habitats, places that meet their exact need for soil, moisture, and light. Because of that, they don't survive being moved or transplanted. Conservation groups emphasize that these orchids should never be dug up or picked. They belong in their natural habitat where they can continue their delicate life cycles undisturbed. Across Canada, you'll find orchids like the Calypso bulbosa, sometimes called the fairy slipper, an enchanting little plant that grows in cool, mossy forests. There's Arthusa bulbosa, the dragon's mouth orchid glowing pink in bogs, and then there are the coral roots, a leafless orchid like the Corollarisa triphyta, which rely entirely on fungi in the soil for nourishment. These species, along with many others, are cataloged by the Orchid Society of the Royal Botanical Gardens, which documents their habitats, flowering seasons, and identifying features. One of the most iconic groups of native orchids in Canada is the lady's slippers. Belonging to the genus Cypripedium, these orchids are instantly recognizable by their pouch-shaped blooms. Species like the small white lady's slipper and the pink lady's slipper are beloved by hikers and photographers, and they are also incredibly sensitive. They depend on very specific soil fungi to germinate and grow, which is why they cannot simply be relocated or cultivated casually. Their survival depends on intact ecosystems, wetlands, and undisturbed forest floors. The Southern Ontario Orchid Society highlights 3 native orchids that deserve special attention. Because of their vulnerability, these species rely on habitats that are increasingly threatened by development, climate change, and human disturbance. Their message is clear. Protecting native orchids means protecting their ecosystems, which they depend on. Ontario's wild orchid diversity is astonishing when you consider the range of environments they occupy. Some grow in deep shade, others thrive in open, sunny wetlands. Some bloom in early spring, while others wait for late summer or autumn. This variety reflects the incredible adaptability of orchids as a family, and also the fragility of each species niche. Organizations like the Orchid Society of the Royal Botanical Gardens and conservation groups across the country continue to document, study, and protect these plants. Their work reminds us that native orchids are not just beautiful, they're indicators of ecological health. When orchids disappear, it often means the ecosystems around them are under stress. So as we admire orchids in our home and collections, it's worth remembering the quiet, resilient species growing right here in Canada. They've evolved along our landscapes for thousands of years, and with care, respect, and conservation, they'll continue to bloom for generations to come.